Nodak Nerd is a proud member of Odd Pods Media.
From its 2007 start with Iron Man, the Marvel Cinematic Universe has presented diverse superhero films, often following a formula, yet maintaining unique identities. Over nearly 2 decades, the MCU has evolved from solo origin stories to the grand culmination of Avengers Endgame in 2019, uniting surviving heroes against Thanos in what many consider a historic cinematic payoff. However, post-Endgame has been an arguably rocky road, with many fans calling it quits at multiple points. Between the overabundance of television shows to some, shall we say, less impactful films, we as fans were stuck between a rock and a hard place. I myself have found something redeemable with most of these projects, but I can understand why some have felt let down. Eternals struggled to connect with a broad audience due to its large ensemble cast and extensive exposition. The promise surrounding the Kang Dynasty dimmed with Jonathan Majors' legal issues, and the Multiverse of Madness, while visually striking, didn't delve as deeply into the multiverse as some had hoped. Plagued by production shifts, the Marvels ultimately felt underwhelming with a forgettable antagonist and uneven pacing. Thor: Love and Thunder turned the humor up too much for most, while also failing to deliver on what should have been a terrifying villain. Even Brave New World, Sam Wilson's first solo outing as Captain America earlier this year, while a step in the right direction, arguably stumbled by revealing Red Hulk in its marketing, diminishing what could have been a major surprise. Amidst this varied landscape, Thunderbolts, the final film of the MCU's 5th phase, offered a genuinely intriguing premise. Assemble a team of lower-tier heroes and anti-heroes. What could go wrong? Not a lot, it turns out. As the credits rolled, a wave of emotions washed over me. Thunderbolts swiftly ascended into my top tier of MCU films, and while its exact ranking is still settling, its place among my favorites is undeniable. Thunderbolts gives us a team-up movie with some of the most broken people in the MCU, and at just over 2 hours, serves as both an origin story and a therapy session. I certainly wasn't expecting anything like this based off of the trailers, but the marketing for this movie tricked us all in more ways than one, aside from that one very obvious thing. The story flowed nicely and never left you in the dark. As long as you came with prior knowledge of our heroes, you have enough knowledge to fully enjoy this film. Casual fans may wonder exactly how they all ended up where they are, but having seen Julia Louis-Dreyfus's Valentina in both Black Widow and Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, they shouldn't be completely clueless. There were a few moments that I thought were odd, one example being a bomb that was triggered and had a visible timer for the potential victims to see, instead of just blowing up. Since Thunderbolts is a comic book movie, it is important to remember it doesn't follow real-world rules, so just roll with its own story logic instead of trying to match it up with how things work in our lives. The writing for this movie found a good balance of humor, heart, and narrative, and the acting in this movie was strong across the board, with each cast member delivering excellent performances. While some characters had limited screen time, the dialogue was notable, particularly David Harbour's Red Guardian, who was a standout. His interactions with Yelena effectively conveyed a fatherly tenderness, while his desire to be accepted as a hero resonated with childlike enthusiasm. Lewis Pullman's portrayal of Bob was surprisingly impactful, bringing a believable vulnerability to the character. This film has shifted my perception of several of the characters, which a lot of people are saying online as well. I do wish that they wouldn't have been so quick to kill off Taskmaster, whose early demise made me wonder why even bring the character back at all. They even got the original actor back, and we saw her face once? Maybe they did it just to make sure no one asks where she ended up? I'm not sure, but I honestly hated how it was done with such little fanfare. The action scenes felt real for the most part. The CGI in the fight scene against Sentry's official debut kinda stood out a bit more than I would have hoped, but nothing too distracting that it took me out of it. There also was a major scene that took place at night, but it was hard to see what was happening on screen because it was so dark. This may have been the theater at fault, but I do wish new movies would brighten up the night scenes. Sound design was great, but I couldn't tell you if there were any songs in this movie. Nothing really stood out, but nothing felt out of place either. With themes of mental illness evident throughout the movie, Thunderbolts, or should I say, the New Avengers, delivered way more than I could have asked for. Not many comic book movies have caused my eyes to well up. Endgame and Guardians of the Galaxy 3 may have been the only ones of the extensive 36 films and various television projects that have given me the feels, but that changed when I saw this. I cannot recommend this enough. If you haven't found time to watch this yet, I strongly urge you to. I firmly believe that the MCU has never left. Sure, there were some low points, which I covered when I ranked everything in the MCU through Brave New World on my channel earlier this year. Since then, we've gotten Daredevil Born Again, and even though it wasn't perfect, it was still really well done, and deserves a spot on the masterpiece tier, along with Thunderbolts. I mean, the New Avengers. Looking ahead, we have Ironheart, another Disney Plus series premiering in June. This one is a spin-off from Wakanda Forever and shows some promise based on a trailer that was released earlier this month. July 25th has the privilege of being the release date of the MCU's Fantastic Four First Steps, which has really got me hyped. If you happen to stay for the final post-credit scene for the New Avengers, you can kind of assume how that movie is going to pan out, but regardless, I have a lot of faith that the movie is going to deliver better than the previous 3 entries of the first family. I hope you enjoyed this review. Leave me some feedback below. What did you feel about the movie? I'm curious. Make sure you're also checking out my pals over at Odd Pods Media for endless entertainment, and I'll catch you later.